This one's for all of the new beekeepers. One of the things I'm stressing about as a new beekeeper is what products to buy, what not to buy, what are the things that I need to get started. So today, my goal is to tell you exactly that. So first, we're gonna hear from Tim from Napoleon Bee Supply about what you're gonna need to get started. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna give you some of the tips and some of the things that I've learned not to waste my money on, if I'm being completely honest, when you start beekeeping and you start looking for your products. So let's get started. For the new beekeepers that are wanting to get into beekeeping, it's really hard to kind of like sort through all the products that you have and figure out what exactly you need. So can you kind of like walk us through what a new beekeeper should be looking for and like what products they should get?
So there are basic. We just deal with the Langstroth hives. We have the 8 frame set up here, and a 10 frame and the 8 frame. You can either go with a flat roof or a peaked roof. This is all set up for our free beekeeping classes that we give every month for the people that want to become beekeepers. So your basic starter kit you could go either with a screen bottom board or a solid bottom board. Most people start with 2 deeps and 2 mediums, inner cover, top cover, and that's your basic setup. And then you have all your frames that you can put together or buy them assembled. You wouldn't need that. Most people use a queen excluder. I didn't use one until about 4 years ago, until I had a queen laying on all my honey supers, and I could not harvest any honey.
Do you notice a difference in using the metal versus the plastic? Is it better?
I like the metal better because you have a longer strip here than with the plastic. It's a little tighter, and I think it's less stress for the bees going through that.
Yeah, okay.
But regardless, the queen does not get through there. But that's the basic setup. Then you have the different style of frames you can use. We have the plastic cell. We have the easy frames. We have the different styles of. That's a double wax acorn.
Okay. What do you think of the acorn? I
haven't used
those frames yet.
That's all I use now is the acorn.
Okay.
And you have your typical yellow waxed. Then everybody's favorite, the deep with the wires. And if you didn't want the wires, you can use the plain wax. But you have to use wire or clips to keep them in place.
For sure.
And then same thing for the mediums. You have the black and the yellow. And then this is for the people that want to do honeycomb. This is a thin coat of wax.
For cut comb?
And you can actually eat this stuff with your...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the basic things for the beekeeper to first start off, you would need your 2 deeps, 2 mediums, your bottom board, inner cover, top, and then you need a smoker and a hive tool. That's your basic stuff that you need. We have different styles of hive tools. This is everybody's favorite because it's got the J-hook so you can help lift up your frames. We have the stainless steel one, and we have the old plain yellow painted ones. Other than that, we have, the smoker. This is my favorite. It's the cotton with little wood shavings in it.
Oh yeah, this stuff burns really good.
It does.
I used to get that.
And there's a secret, keep it from burning when you're down too. If you're done and you still have a half a can, stick some grass in there, lay it on its side, and it smothers itself out, and you can save all your cotton.
Oh, that's really nice.
For next time.
Okay.
And then, for a cost-wise, about $300 to get your basic stuff that you need.
That's actually really good.
But that's based on you putting everything together yourself. So that's unassembled.
Definitely. In terms of like screened bottom board versus not screened, do you have a preference? Like, why do you pick which one?
I actually have 4 with the solid, and the other 6 are screened. I like to screen just because you get more airflow in the summertime. And when wintertime, you have that pull-up plastic piece that I put back in.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's good for checking mites.
It is. Just make sure you wipe it off clean the first time so you can always count your mites. And mine goes back in probably October 1st.
Okay. like the different setup of how it.
The little
like
landing board
walkway.
for them.
Yeah. Because I just have the basic. Okay. You got a bee brush too.
Bee brush, yeah, that's not something you really need, but it does come in handy at times. I carry mine all the time.
It definitely does. I'm always trying to do the thing where you have to like shake them off, and it's kind of difficult. A brush would be better.
The frame hanger is one of my favorites too, because that way you don't have to set your frames down on the ground, and it's so easy to use. When you go into your hive, you just take your cover off, take your inner cover off, and you just hang it on the side.
Okay.
Oh,
I need to get myself one of those. Actually, that would be so convenient. I'm always putting them on the ground.
Yep. So when you take your first one out, you just hang it here. I usually hang two. That way, as you're pulling them out and inspecting, you just slide them forward and just keep coming. And then the key is to put them all back in the same position when you're finished.
Yep.
Yeah, I love mine.
Okay.
Some people like to use the frame grips.
Yeah.
That will help you get a hold of your frame.
Especially when you have one and you're trying to get the one like in the middle, you can pull it straight out.
Yes.
Because it can get really propolized in there sometimes.
They do a good job of gluing everything together.
Yes, they do.
So that's your basics.
Yep. Okay. Only $300 to get started. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Okay, so now for the juicy details. So the first tip that really comes to mind that just absolutely screams at me is not to even waste your time buying plastic foundation that's not already pre-waxed. And here's why. So the bees, they can actually tell what's the difference between plastic and wood, and they do not like plastic at all. So when you just put a plastic piece of foundation in a colony that is not waxed, they're going to draw it out all wonky, like you saw in these last two clips, how it's not one solid piece, and it's also up off the foundation. The reason that you don't want this to happen is this is going to cause a lot of crowding in your hive. So you want your frames to be able to go in between, go in your hive body where they're supposed to be without touching other frames, because if they're all jam-packed in there, then the bees aren't going to be able to crawl from frame to frame, and they need a little bit of room to do everything they need to do. I believe the measurement is 1/4 inch that they prefer to have in between their combs. Otherwise, they just start filling it with more comb, or it'll just be too crowded for them to raise brood and whatnot. So my most important tip is do not buy unwaxed foundation. I've also tried waxing it myself, and it was kind of a mess. I know there are some people that can wax it and it turns out great, but personally for me, it never works out. So from here on out, I'm always going to be buying waxed foundation. Okay, so for my next tip, I really want to emphasize, do not skimp out and buy a cheap bee suit. I know you see those cheap bee suits on Amazon that are only like 20 or 30 bucks. You're like, oh, hey, that's perfect. I'm going to get that. Trust me, I've learned from experience in this video particularly that it is literally pointless. This was the first day that I came and checked on my bees when I first started beekeeping. After I had let them build up for the summer, and let's just say it was a complete disaster. The entire hive literally turned on me, and this suit did absolutely nothing. They stung me through the suit. And that's the whole purpose of a suit, to protect you from getting stung. So trust me, make sure you buy a good quality one. It's worth the extra money. Now, if you're trying to figure out what suit to get, this is the suit that I have. It's called the HumbleBee 420 Aero. I am absolutely in love with this suit. It's ventilated and it has a round veil. The only thing I don't like about it is there's been a couple times where a bee has slipped in at the neck. But other than that, this suit is super freaking durable and super breathable. So it's definitely one of my favorites. And it looks kind of stylish in a way. My second favorite suit is the new one I just got. It's 2 separate pieces. I got this from Napolean Bee Supply. It's ventilated, and this one is super lightweight. I've never felt a suit that was this lightweight, so I'm super excited to see how it is this summer, because sometimes it can get really hot in your bee suit. And the other plus is that this suit has a ton of pockets. As a beekeeper, you're always going to have a lot of things that you need to carry with you, whether that be like queen cages. organize your hive tool, balled up newspaper, sugar, I don't know, anything. And it's not always nice to have pockets to put everything in, so you're not having to like hold everything in your arms. And I also love that it has this zipper, so it'll be super easy to just unzip it if I need to cool off or I need to do anything. And it also has a round veil. So like I said, I really like round veils. And the reason for that is when you're beekeeping, it's so nice to be able to just feel like you can see everything around you. And whenever there's a bee, if it lands on your veil, sometimes it can like sting you in the face or in the head if you're wearing a hood. So it's really nice to have a veil that keeps that off of your face whenever they land on that screen. Now, I might get a lot of hate for this, but personally, I don't really see the point in buying plain wax foundation. I used it this last year, the kind that doesn't already have a wire built in it, and I tried the fishing line method, and one of the things I did notice that was cool is that for some of my colonies, what I'm showing here is that they would start to kind of like eat at the foundation and they would completely flatten out the sheet if it became bowed in any way, which was really cool, but only some of my colonies did that. Otherwise, the rest of my frames, they would turn out exactly like this, especially when it got hot. So see how that foundation is starting to bow? Yeah, the bees, they don't like this. They want it to be completely flat. Otherwise, it messes up their brood and it messes up their cells. And it can affect the frames next to it as well. So personally, I don't really see a point in buying just plain wax foundation. I mean, you can get it with the wires in it. I think that's the only way that it's really worth it. But then you might as well just do a foundationless frame because it's going to be wax anyways if they end up building it out a foundationless frame. So I don't know. I don't really see the point in buying wax foundation. So that's just my opinion. And the last thing I want to talk about is not to even waste your time getting those bundles that you always see. Get your whole entire setup for only like $200. I've done those a couple times, and that's actually where I got this smoker. And as you can see, it is an absolute pain to try to get that smoker open. I wish I would have spent a little bit more money in buying a better smoker. But also, usually it's in those bundles that you get those frames, those plastic frames that are completely unwaxed. And like I said, I haven't had the best of luck with them. And the quality that usually comes with those bundles are not too great. So yeah. Okay, I hope that was super helpful. And remember, as a new beekeeper, it's okay to make mistakes. We all do at some point. That is honestly the only way to learn. This last year, I made a lot of mistakes as a beekeeper, but I've learned so much because of it. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try new things. And just have fun with it because that's what beekeeping is for. So with that, I'll see you guys soon.